Hey everybody, here we are with a Bromwell match, platooned up with Competency on Airfield. Now I did record this one earlier, I did have it planned to be in my upload queue, but something happened to the video file, I'm not entirely sure what, I may have accidentally deleted it, and so now I have to re-record it and stick it back in. Chronologically speaking, this came before the match on Redshire with Rudy, but I'm just going to slot this in wherever I can on my upload queue, so it may not be in the right order. Anyway, we have been thrown up against tier 8s. What's more, the enemy have a decent pair of tier 8 heavy tanks, while our team get a bunch of shitters. Despite being out-tiered, I decide I'm going to make my usual run to the North Rocks position, but unlike my usual sort of early game strat, I decide to swing to the right, up into the little asshole position in the rocks up here. I know I'm fast enough to get here before anything the enemy team has, except their Wheezy 132. Oh, sorry, that's not Wheezy 132, they're Type, T-34-2. That thing. I get a quick shot on the side of the Comet as he crosses the open, and then pull back for a second. There's no arty to worry about, but I was worried I might get a TD shooting at me. I was expecting tank destroyers to be concealed in the bushes past the Comet, who is a bit of an idiot and backs out of cover and lets me shoot him in the fuel tank and the engine. So some nice fire damage there, I'm certainly not going to complain about that. The majority of the enemy heavy tanks now get lit, pushing into the North Rocks, where they run headlong into the majority of our heavy tanks. Meanwhile, myself and Comp hold this position, and I start to work on the Aufklärungspanzer Panther, who is carelessly exposing his tank. Still a bit worried that there might be tank destroyers in the bushes, so I'm playing a little cautiously. I'm not sure what the Awful Panther thinks he's doing here, but I'm able to get another shot in quickly, and then another into the Comet. The Comet appears to be shooting at Competency, that or he's really badly missing me, so I get another shot in quickly before backing off. His next shot misses, but he pulls into cover. Things are starting to heat up here in the south. There's now an ARL-44 there as well, and the Awful Panther does something really bizarre and stupid, which gets him killed. ARL is behind solid cover and goes down anyway, and I get a nice tracking shot into the Cromwell. He's stuck there in front of my gun, and each of my shots retracts him and damages him as well. Down he goes. I'm able to do all this without losing any hit points. The enemy broke through the very south point with a Hellcat, a Super Persh, and a JT-88, but because they pushed straight through, ignoring us, I'm able to begin working on these guys. Our KV-4 takes out the Hellcat, the Super Pershing runs off behind cover, as does the JT-88, but bizarrely, both of them actually pull back out of cover. If you look at the minimap here, they're actually pushing on our base ramp. It looks like they've got it. The JT-88 is actually coming back to fight the tanks behind him though, and the Super Pershing pulls back as well. Now, he just reversed completely out of cover, showing the side of his tank to me. He threw away those hit points. I do miss a couple shots. The Bromwell does not have the best gun handling in the world, but as the Super Pershing carelessly backs in front of me, I'm able to get some more damage in. I'm already sitting on 2,500 damage, which is a good game for any tier 6. However, I fuck up there. I carelessly sat in front of the JT-88 even though I knew he was aiming at me, and I wasn't even doing anything to him. Those were hit points I could not afford to lose, and that will come back and haunt me shortly. For now though, I want to try and take as many hit points off the C-25 as possible before he can run away and flank me. The North has fallen, all that's left is the 101 and the SU-100 there. They're in decent positions to cover it, but there's a lot of heavy tanks coming their way, a lot of hit points. and our tier 8s in the south are not exactly being very useful. Now, I don't want to push here, because I don't know what kind of support the E25's got, but I have an impression that the T29 may well be positioned to shoot across the 5 line, or if not the T29, then perhaps one of the tank destroyers. So I sit back for a while, keeping my left side covered. I let the Su-122-44 spot around the south, and the tier 8s next to me move into the open ground to my left. Still waiting to see what happens. The enemy Löwe is lit and takes out our Su-101, and here comes the E25 with a friend. Now I could scarcely handle the E25 myself, let alone it and a Tiger II, so I back off, trying to bait them into the KV-4. And then I turn and begin to run. And there is a big mistake incoming. Now I don't want to run up through the left path there because of the T29, but oh god. Here I fucked up badly. Instead of hugging the left side and staying underneath the Su-152's gun, I veer up to the right and try and climb the mountain, exposing my tank completely to him and also slowing me down, making the shot easy. So that was a really bad idea on my part, but unfortunately I just didn't have time to think, and so my first reaction was the wrong reaction, and really at the end of the day there's not much you can do about that except just try and practice and practice and practice to always make the right decision when you're faced with a snap decision like that. It's one of the reasons that you kind of do need to practice if you want to be good at Clan Wars, because you need to have the right automatic responses to situations like that. It's the same reason that militaries have drill. It's to give you an instant, instinctive response that is the correct response for a situation. All that's left now is our Su-100. Now he's in a decent enough position, but he's not very good and not likely to play very smartly. The T29's lit. He bounces and gets very lucky there. The T29's shot whiffs just below him. He actually manages to kill it, but he stays in position as the Su-152 rolls up. And the Su-152 puts a shell directly underneath his tank. Now if that's not luck, I don't know what is. However, even after this near miss, our Su-100 doesn't seem to get the idea that he should reposition. It's also worth noting that he appears to be using the 85mm gun. It doesn't look like 100mm to me. He bounces a shot off the 152. He pulls back for a moment behind cover, but then he just drives straight back into the same position. Why? He gets himself killed. Of course, the Su-152 was pre-aimed there. Why would you ever drive back into that position? Now, an interesting little bit of trivia is, right after this game ended, that Su-100 began messaging me with some very rude words, and talking himself up about how I was useless and he did everything. Now, a damning indictment of our team this match was that he was actually the second highest XP. The person who was highest XP was me, and I did a lot more than him or anybody else on the team did. Unfortunately for Competency, he had a very short game as he backed up a little too far and got shot in the back by one of the heavy tanks pushing around D6. So basically the game came down to myself and a bunch of shit pubs, and unfortunately shit pubs are not going to be able to win a game once I make a careless life choice and get blown up. With that said, just shy of 2700 damage in a tier 6 in a tier 8 match. I mean, I was pissed off I didn't get the XP out of it that I would for a win, but I knew that there wasn't really much more I could have done that much. Even if I had made the right choice regarding the Su-152 and got under its gun and escaped without being hit, it's likely I would have still been dispatched by 1 or 2 shots from the heavy tanks. I might have got a handful more damage in. Maybe I could have broken 3k, but it's, you know, it's all theory crafting. Ultimately, at the end of the day, our tier 8s just didn't do nearly enough. In fact, most of them did nothing. And when you've got a situation like that, there's only so much you can do. But I'll let the Postgames speak for themselves as far as the issue with the SU-100 went. And once again, I think a very good example of why the Bromwell is such a strong tank. Anyway, I'd like to thank you very much for watching. I have one more replay from, I think, the same session, which similarly I lost the recording of. I must have accidentally deleted them somehow. Shit happens. So that will be coming after this one, wherever this slots into the upload queue. As ever, I wish you the best of luck in the field, and I'll see you on the next one.